words between each other, and you hear an exclamation from Aya in the midst of their conversation. Well, no, I haven't found it yet. I got the message from you that we should meet up with you here. That's why I sent Holg along with the other two. Where are they, by the way? Boff, who turns towards Holg and raises one hand, says, well, this one was the only one that I ran into. Where are your friends, Holg? Holg then turns back and says, the bar you saw me come out of, I went in there with them. Lost sight of him after that. Aya turns towards Holg and says, we've been gone for the better part of a day. Holg then shrugs and says, wasn't my coin I was spending?
Coin was he spending?
He wasn't spending his own coin, so it didn't seem to matter how long he spent there.
Fair.
So, at this point, Aya, Boff, and Holg, who have finally all met up and exchanged some of their latest information, you then, well, does anyone have any questions? Is anyone going to say anything to the group yet?
I don't think I have anything to say right now.
Boff turns to you and says, haven't seen anybody evil, but I don't know, what does an evil person look like? Well, I've seen plenty of those. Okay. So you take out the ancient tatter of paper that you have. Oh yes, you added that to that little bit of parchment. So you take it out and you show it to him. He gives it a good once over. You can see him. He is rubbing the bottom of his chin and staring very intently at the paper as he holds it in the other hand. He reaches into his bag and takes out a pair of glasses and goes, and then puts them back and then reaches into his bag again and takes out a thicker pair of glasses. And you got this where? Well, can't... What? The name that you heard from the story that Rowan was talking about said Sudaria. Okay, just give me a second. What the fuck am I even looking for here? Oh, there it is. As he is reading over this, he makes note of the line that's talking about the Silent King. And he says, that sounds familiar. They were celebrating something a couple of days ago. Why does that sound so familiar? Well, from what I heard, I think it was celebrated everywhere. There was a huge festival here. And then a moment of silence out in the plaza in the middle of the city by that big stone spire. They mentioned a king. What was his name? And again, as he's focusing, you can hear as he, to himself, you can see he is pushing his mustache to either side of his nose, almost like the ticking of a clock. Almost as a physical representation of the mental wheels turning in his head as he's trying to remember these names and dates of things he's only just been exposed to. Caristo. Yes, that was it. That was the name they said.
That cussed beast like the taste of missile.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, something really bad happened here quite a few years ago.
Is that a reference to the, from that one island that no one ever comes back from?
The name does sound familiar to you. Again, it was mentioned in one of the stories that Rowan had said in regards to what was contained on that, or what used to be that island over there. Oh, what used to be the island of Sindarin. Over there is not really helpful. I gotta admit, I don't get what this reference is supposed to be.
The mustache.
Oh no, you gotta go way crazier on this mustache.
But his mustache is doing something similar, right? Ticking like a clock.
Wait, let's see it then. See, I'm picturing it going left and right, like underneath each nostril and shifting to either side of his nose. But it is the same basic idea, yes. Actually, if anybody knows that that GIF of this like old cowboy looking guy that somebody from Reddit they superimposed all these upvote arrows on. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Something kind of similar to this one, right?
Yes, this is the guy. So picture like this level of mustache control. So yeah, that's the kind of mustache I'm thinking for Boff. And that was so Boff after remembering some of these this name Caristo that stands out to him. Oh, you guys should have been there. What a party that was. The feats of strength and wine everywhere. Oh, it was a blast. It's where I got this. And he holds up the amulet that he's got around his neck. Well, where I got the stone anyway. It was exactly what I needed. And he's indicating the rather large ruby that seems to be embedded within the silver metalwork of the amulet. It was the last thing that I needed.
Did for what?
Oh, for him. And as Boff points his hand towards the tide fin again, what
Don't
seems
tell me
to
Navigator Burnley walks out.
no, what seems to emerge is a very. It kind of has to squeak and squish and slide its way through, but what slowly emerges is what appears to be a large suit of armor connected by pieces of wood, and the way it moves, you can tell it's not a natural construct. This is something that was built and made, and it worms its way out of the door of the tide fin. It hops down off of the ship towards the dock and lands with a thud. And it walks up right beside Boff and stands right beside him, folds both of its arms. And what stands before you is significantly taller than him. And it's just a large, seemingly animated suit of armor composed of metal and wood.
At this point, I lean over to Holg and ask him, how good do you think it is at arm wrestling?
Holg looks over you and smirks and chuckles to himself. I suppose we'll have to find out. Hey, Boff. And then Boff immediately turns to him and says, No, we've been over this. So, what have you guys found out? Do you know... Any word about the compass? Do you know where the damn thing is? And you said he had something, an axe of some kind?
That's my battle axe.
Holg then speaks up. Yeah, this big nasty looking thing. Made of all black metal. You there, Pedwin, you picked some magic up off there, didn't you? Well, if he's... Boff pipes up. Well, if he's in the city, then most location spells should probably be able to find him. It's around this time that noon has come and gone as you've been wandering through the city. It's starting to get on towards the afternoon now, as all of these revelations are coming out and everyone's sharing their stories of what they've encountered. Are you going to... Well, what are you going to do, Pedwin? Okay. So are you going to go into a handstand forward again? All right, so are you casting this? All right, so it's not going to be a ritual then. Oh, okay. So Pedwin is beginning to murmur some arcane incantations to himself and making some motions with his hands and his fingers, and oddly enough, one foot seems to also be making some of these drawings in the air. Small currents of magic seem to be following the tips of his fingers and his boots, and he slings himself over to his side, and as both feet come into the air, he points them upwards, and you see a little arcane pulse wave off of both of the feet as he's upside down. And in that moment, Pedwin's awareness expands. And it seems as if Pedwin's erection stands tall. No, so as this pulse of arcane energy seems to radiate off of Pedwin, his feet acting like some kind of antenna, as it passes through the city, it seems to travel quite a ways before it notably detects anything, but you have a very good sense of the enchantment that this object has. You've detected it with your detect magic spell before, so it seems it's quite familiar and it's relatively fresh in your mind. And you home in on this object. And now, how does locate object work? Okay. 1,000 feet of you. Okay. Alright, so as this arcane pulse radiates off from you, you eventually do pick up a sense of this object, and you do get an idea of whereabouts it is, and it's significantly further to the south from where you are, and it's a little bit off to the west as well. Okay, you take off in that direction, you just run? All right. So from the rest of your perspectives, what's happened is Pedwin has made all of these incantations, he's muttered these enchantments, and he has cartwheeled over, and on the moment of him being upside down, he achieved a moment of perfect stillness for just the blink of an eye. And as he comes down from his cartwheel, he has just barely gotten traction with both feet before he takes off and starts running in towards the city.
Guess
Moving. Yeah.
Guess I'll run after him.
All right. I really need to use the washroom, so I'm going to go do that. And when we come back, we are going to go chase down this object.
Knowing how evil of a DM HPG is, it's probably going to be up in a shop.